Welcome back, everybody. Laptop Hound with another episode of Draft to Glory Montreal Expos. It is 1918. How's your 1918 going? Little spoiler for you. In about 5 months, World War I's going to come to an end. Just hang on. World War I's going to come to an end very, very soon. All right, no camera on today. Bandwidth is a little bit low, so going to save on that with no camera. We are the Montreal Expos. We started this series back in 1901, draft to glory style, which means no trades, no free agents, no international signings. Everything we do is built through the draft every year. We started with the inaugural draft with random historical players coming in at any time. Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth, Roger Clemens, Joe Carter, whoever it may be. They could come into the game at any point during one of these drafts. Our inaugural draft, we took some of the worst players possible because, hey, I wanted the biggest challenge. Start with a bad team and work our way through the draft. We do have one championship. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. You may have seen some of my episodes over on Twitch, but this is where I kind of got my roots going here in base game with YouTube. So yeah, welcome all in. Get a little bit of franchise play. Get to see how the base game plays a little bit. For those of you that play a lot of Perfect Team, yeah, there still is the base game that you can have fun with. So here you see all of the champions from when we started this back in 1901. Montreal Expos have won. They won it over the Athletics in 1908. We did make the finals last year. Lost in Game 7. Yeah, heartbreaking loss in Game 7 to the St. Louis Browns. But it is another year, another chance to get back to the finals. Here is kind of our system right now, Major League, minor leagues. We're only running a AAA, a AA, and rookie league right now because, again, we don't have enough players to populate them all. In fact, we still don't have enough players because, again, no signings, so there are a lot of ghosted players here. Right now in the minor leagues, we got Tim Raines, who we drafted in the first round last year. He was number 4 overall. So with an Expos franchise, of course, you got to try and get Tim Raines or Andre Dawson on your team. So he is playing in rookie ball, 19 years old, first season in the professional leagues. In AA, we've got kind of guys that aren't really good enough for the regular roster. Probably can move Dave Baldwin to AAA. This guy here, how's he doing? You know what? It's his first year in AA. We'll keep him there. And then in AAA, we've got 21 players right now. And a lot of them want to be promoted, but it's not quite time. Ed Walsh is the big one. We are short on starting pitchers. He is a starter, even with that 40 stamina, because 1918, the Deadball Era, guys could, go 9 innings. You see with his previous starts here, he did go the full 9 innings. So he's not completely developed yet. We're going to give him 1 year in AAA before we bring him up. On the majors, here is our opening day 25-man roster. You'll see the year that they were drafted. You see their current overall, 2-man rotation. Again, dead ball. We only need a 2-man rotation. And everyone else, stamina-wise, we've got Scott Stratton, we've got Gene Wright, and, that's pretty much it. Roy Halladay's at 40, so we don't really have a third starter. Over in the hitting section, again, no DH. We're going with the evolution of the game, so if they decide to bring the DH at some point, we'll go with it. Right now, here you see our lineup. Some of the stars on the team. Ken Griffey Jr., of course, projecting him to be real good. 2nd overall pick back in the 1913 draft. So can't believe he's already 22 years old. Frank Schugert was another high draft pick by us. We drafted him 6th overall in the 1915 draft, and he was, I believe, Rookie of the Year in 1917. So he looks like he's going to have a great career. Again, we are not recalculating these players based on real life. Once they come into the game, it's the OOTP engine. So they can become busts, even though they were great players in real life. Doesn't necessarily translate to that in the game. We're going with the random talent generator a little bit higher than normal to give us those different situations, because otherwise it's kind of boring. If we know Ken Griffey Jr. is going to become really good, it's kind of boring. It kind of defeats the purpose, at least for me, for playing the game. I want to see some randomness. So there you go. There are hitters. There are the pitchers. It is time to get the season underway. Stay tuned. The contest question to try and win 5 standard packs will come along shortly. Stay tuned for that. All right, here is your opening day lineup for the Montreal Expos. Starting at shortstop and leading off, Frank Schugert. In the number 2 slot, it is Paul Molitor. Batting third, we have Bo Jackson, 37 years old. Hitting cleanup will be the youngster Ken Griffey Jr. Batting number 5, the youngest player in our starting rotation, 20-year-old Whitey Lockman. In the 6th spot, our first pick in the 1901 draft when we got this all started. Drafted number 2 or 3 overall, I believe, Joe Sewell. Batting 7th, the defensive stud, Hank Majeski. In the number 8 position, it will be Joe Gargiola. And batting 9th, Scott Stranton. So there you go. There is our starting lineup. Usually I only go into the game late in the season if we're close to a playoff position, or at the end of the season if we are in the playoffs. Then I'll go into the game like this. And if you're new to the base game, I love the fact that you get this graphic that you can see here. And again, you can go into the options. You can turn that off if you want. But you can also, if you're playing batter by batter, you can go and you can adjust your infield based on the graphic that you see, kind of the hitting trends. So in this case here, I might want kind of a weak shift to the right because Jack Smith hits a lot of balls to the right-hand side. But in the opening day of each season, we go through and we watch the Expos and see how they do in that first game. Nothing after inning number 1. We go to the 3rd, 1-0 Pittsburgh. We go to the 4th inning. Montreal at home gets a hit, but nothing else. We head to the 5th. Still a 1-0 game. 2 hits for the Expos. Come on, boys. Let's get things going. We go to inning 6. 1-0 game. We have a pitcher's duel. Stratton against Davies. Inning number 7. Still 1-0. Montreal does get another hit in the 6th. 5 hits to 3 for the Pirates. We go to the 8th inning. 1-0 game. Let's head to the 9th. And it is now 3-0 for Pittsburgh. Let's go to the bottom of the 9th inning, and Montreal will attempt the comeback. Paul Molitor at the plate. Expos down by 3 on this opening day. And Molitor drives one, but right to the left fielder. 1 away. George Davies still in the game. Bo Jackson at the plate. Here comes the pitch. That one is driven, and oh, what an outstanding catch by the left fielder. What a great play by Christian Yelich. Yeah, Christian Yelich is playing in 1918. 2 down for Ken Griffey Jr. Last chance to get a rally going, Ken, and that is sky high. Catcher will take that. That will do it for the opening day, and the Montreal Expos will go down a 3-hitter by George Davies. Scott Stratton has a pretty strong game, giving up 3 earned runs. And hit-wise, Bo Jackson had a couple. Joe Sewell had 1. Disappointing start for the Montreal Expos on opening day. All right, let's go to the end of April. May 1st, and once again, usually every month, the game in the base game that will give you player development updates, kind of showing you which players are improving or regressing a little bit. These can go up for one player one month and down the next month. I don't put a lot of stock into it unless you see a huge dramatic drop. Then it's probably time to maybe think about replacing them. So again, I don't go through each individual player. It takes too much time. Leave them up on the screen if you want to kind of check out how these guys are doing. One I will look at is Ed Walsh. Again, he is progressing well. 2-1 currently in AAA. He will be in the big leagues next season. All right, let's check out where the Montreal Expos are. We do this at the end of every month, just kind of as an update, and we are 8-6, half a game out of the lead with the Chicago Cubs. Again, we're playing the two different conferences here, just like in the real leagues. And back in the early 1900s, it wasn't Montreal, it was Boston. So we've replaced, I believe it was the Boston Bean Eaters that we took over. All right, let's go on to the beginning of June. Here we are, June 1st. Again, some player updates. Bo Jackson, I can't, when you play this game and you go year by year, these players, they just grow old so fast. Got to give some recognition to Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson, we drafted back in the 1902 draft, 6th round. We got Bo in the 6th round, and he's had an outstanding career, 2,300 plus hits, 87 home runs in a non-home run era, and almost 1,000 RBIs. Fantastic. That's one of those cases where the random development engine doesn't project him high at the beginning during the draft, but then he works his magic and he becomes an all-star with our team. So congratulations, Bo Jackson, still hanging in there, hasn't regressed too much. In fact, he's still a 4.5 star overall player. Definitely the offensive is down from previous years, only hitting 240, but it's still early. All right, let's go take a look where the Expos are. We are still only half a game out. This time, we're behind Pittsburgh. Chicago has fallen on hard times. Look at this. Chicago was first last month. Now they're 9.5 games back. Yeah, not fun, Chicago. Whitey Lockman, second in league in the average category. Here's a player that just was better than I thought he would be. We did get him first round. So again, he was projected really high. But this kid has just been fantastic in the short time he's been on Montreal. Great BABIP guy, great dead ball player. A little bit of power too. Offense, probably not the greatest. You see, he did have a pretty good career in real life, getting over 1,600 hits. So yeah, I'm really happy with 20-year-old. He's going to be on the team for a long time. All right, let's go ahead to July 1st. Be back in a few seconds. Indeed, it is a happy Canada Day here in 1918. The Montreal Expos, even though they've lost their last 2 games, now have a 5-game lead over Pittsburgh. This may be the biggest lead we've had in the last 10 years. I'm excited, but it's still early. So I'm not going to get my hopes up. We saw how quickly Chicago dropped. Now we see how quickly Pittsburgh dropped. So if this was September 1st, I'd be a lot happier. So that's great to see. Taking a look around the league, remember, there are no trades. Injuries are turned off simply because it's too tedious to have to go in and adjust lineups with nagging little short-term injuries. So no injuries, no suspensions, trades are off, all that kind of stuff, just to make the game go a little bit quicker. We're going to see these players perform without any limitations, basically, other than the in-game development engine. Ty Cobb, a player that I would have loved to have drafted. He was taken first overall back in 1910. We didn't have the opportunity. And I said, keep your eye on Washington. if you've been watching my videos, I said Washington within a few years is going to be a dynasty. And they're just starting to kind of get to that point now. Ty Cobb, Dan Brothers, who is 35 years old now, he's won 8 MVPs in the league. He's won so many MVPs that we have renamed the MVP trophy the Dan Brothers Trophy. Used to be the Pete Browning Award. Now it's the Dan Brothers Award. That's because he deserves it. All right, 5 games up. Let's continue on. Let's go to August. Let's see if we can hold this lead. Welcome back. Again, August 1st. Here is the player development report. If you like looking at, how players are developing one way or the other. Again, these are all players we've acquired through the draft process, including Rob Deere. And those of you that play Perfect Team and watch a lot of the affiliate streams, there is a specific fan of Rob Deere out there. We had to take him. Currently in the Rookie League. If this is the first video that you're watching of this series, this is not typical Montreal progress. We are 9.5 games up. Again, I think this is the biggest lead we've ever had in the, 17 years we've been doing this. We have a 9.5 game lead. So the draft finally seems to be working. Let's go take a look at our overall rankings here. Look at this. First in most of the hitting categories. Unbelievable. Second in stolen bases. This is a year where everything is going right offensively. Our weakness was always on defense, and our pitching was usually okay, and it's still okay, but offensively, we're just killing it. And our zone rating now is 4th, and our defensive efficiency is 4th. We usually are at the bottom, right? Right? Those of you that have been watching these videos know that we are usually at the bottom of defensive efficiency and zone rating. So I don't know what's going on because our defense is pretty much the same as the last couple years. But let's go take a quick look at the stats here. I mean, to only have 6 players in the negative, usually it's the other way around. So Whitey Lockman, unfortunately, is our lowest zone rating guy. But Majeski, Gargiola, Scott Stratton, Ken Griffey Jr. Okay, I guess that's why we're improving, because we did add Ken Griffey recently. We added Majeski. We added, who else is new? Nick Markakis recently. So defense is important. Helps you win championships. Whitey Lockman, number 1 in the league in average. Because we have a 2-man rotation, we're leading a lot of the pitching categories, including 27 wins by Scott Stratton. Again, if it's your first video that you're watching, this guy here, back in the 1906 draft, we had a choice between Stratton as a 17-year-old or Shohei Ohtani as a 22-year-old. And we went with Stratton. And that has proved to be the right choice because Ohtani didn't quite have the ratings. He was drafted, I believe, by Chicago. He's still on Chicago in a stopper role, only 20 stamina. And he hasn't had a great career. 34 years old. Here's the pitching stats. Again, 18 saves. And as a 2-way player, here are his batting stats, a career batting average of .238. So I was upset at the time because I was hoping to get him first pick of the second round, and he was picked right before our second round pick. So he was last pick of the first round. We almost got Stratton and Ohtani, but I'm kind of not upset now based on the career that he's had in Chicago. All right, let's go ahead to the key month, key date of September 1st. All right, I'm kind of nervous to look at the standings here because we're just doing so well. We were 5 games up. and they were 9.5 games up. Did we continue to make the progress forward, or have we fallen back? Here is the player development update for a few of our players, including Lockman, Gene Wright, and Bob Chance, all on our Major League roster. Here we go. We are currently, wow. Fussmucker, do you see this? O's Bones, Eyes Vikes. You know, some of you that continuously to make comments on the videos and enter the contest, and I thank you so much for that. You've been following this series along for years now, virtual years. Do you see where we're at? 82-45. Again, we did make the World Series last year. I did not expect it to be this huge of a jump. Let's see if we can go and take a look at, I forget where that is. Forgive me, where we can see our records from previous years. I guess it's under history. Last year we were 90-64, which was a great year. 584 win percentage. We are currently on a 645 win percentage. Last time we won the World Series, we were also at a 584, just like last year. Year number 4, we came out of nowhere and somehow finished second with a lousy roster. But we are on a record-setting pace here for wins. Montreal Expos behind Scott Stratton, looking for his 40th win. A two-way player. Look at his batting stats. He hit .308 last year, .273 this year. He was the right pick back in his draft year. 4th overall. And once we get to the 1921 season, we're going to look back at the previous number 1 overall picks. We'll look back at all 20 of them and see how they've been doing. Kind of cool. We did that after the 10-year anniversary. So if you want to go back a few episodes, you can find out who the first overall picks were for the first 10 seasons. But yeah, Scott Stratton, Roy Halladay, you know, he's not the player we thought he would be. We drafted him pretty high, 4th overall, just like Scott Stratton. But again, he didn't progress like the real life Roy Halladay. But still, I mean, I'm proud of how he's doing, being a 1.5-star player. Thankfully, we have Ed Walsh coming in next year. All right, we're 14 games. 14, our magic number is 14. Let's go to the beginning of October. And of course, this is the episode I don't have my camera on. If you saw me, it'd be like stunned, like literally a deer in headlights, because 98-56. 98-56. Your Montreal Expos, 8 games, 8 wins better than last season. A new record for the Montreal Expos with a 636 win percentage. Scott Stratton hit 46 wins, a Cy Young type of year. Roy Halladay almost hitting that 30-game wins in the season. And we were 2 wins short of 100. And I applaud you guys for following, for watching, for entering the contest. You make this so enjoyable. The fact that we get 10, 15, 20, 30 people watching these videos just makes me want to create more. Hopefully we'll get a few more entries into the contest because, hey, 5 packs for Perfect Team. And even if you don't play Perfect Team, leave a like. You know, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Just an incredible year. Let's take a look at some of the stats. Ty Cobb leading the AL, but let's look at the entire league and see if we can see any Expos amongst the league leaders for batters. I don't see any. Paul Molitor for extra base hits. For total bases, Frank Schugert, 4th in the league in stolen bases, was 78. We do have a few players there. And let's take a look at the streaks. I always like checking in once in a while. Ty Cobb had a 28-game hitting streak during the season. We had Tony Gonsolin with a 10-game win streak. Well done. What else do we got? Consecutive stolen bases. We have Harry Stovey with 12 for being caught. And you see some of the other ones here as well. 3-game in dead ball to have a 3-game home run streak. That's pretty good. 3 games in a row for Kyle Lewis. And Alan Wiggins, 11 games in a row, scoring a run. Well, we are off to the playoffs. Now it's just a matter of who will we face, and it will be the New York Yankees. Montreal, New York. Let's take a look at the 2 records. We were 98-56. New York is 81-74. In fact, they had to go to a tiebreaker, it looks like, against Detroit, and it went, whoa! This is incredible. All right, let's set the scene for you. New York, Detroit were tied at the end of the season with an 80-74 record. They go to the 1-game play-in, and it went 21 innings. 21 innings. It was 2-2 after 3, and then they went another 17 innings before the Yankees would score in the bottom of the 21st. Or I guess top of the, let's see, the game log doesn't even allow me to go that far. Look at this. It allows me only to scroll to the 14th inning. Incredible. That is a moment in history. This is, I think, of all the games, excluding Expo games, this is got to go in the record book for us. Did any player have 10 at-bats? It looks like 9 is the highest for Carson Bigby. Wow. Does it show how the 21st inning played out? I don't see anything from the 21st inning here. Just so much stats. All right, here is your trivia question for this episode. Lots of names to choose from. The New York Yankees will win this in 21 innings. List any player on the winning New York Yankee team, anyone that played in the game. Put it in the comments with your perfect team username, and you will be entered for this next contest. The deadline is Saturday. It is Saturday the 7th at noon Eastern Standard Time. All right, that is the deadline for the contest. Good luck. Get your entries in. And that's going to do it for this episode. We are going to leave it there. Next episode will be a playoff episode, Hall of Fame, maybe even get to the draft. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Take care of those that are around you. And wow. Let's hope the New York Yankees are tired. Let's just check out our schedule here. Yeah. 2 days before we play the Yankees. We'll see you next episode.